Ash and Gloria are now making their way over to Winden. They can't believe they're finally going to be entering the Pokemon League. It feels like just yesterday they set off from Professor Magnolia's lab together, each with the goal of facing Leon, and very soon they'll be competing for that chance. While traveling, the kids of course do as much training as they can. Gloria even rewatches their old gym matches on her Rotom phone to review her old strategies and see how to improve them. She also makes sure to watch Ash's matches in anticipation of battling him in the league, which she knows is very much a possibility. And it's during one of these viewing sessions that Gloria remembers the situation with Dracovish during Raihan's gym battle when his stomach spikes glue brightly in the middle of the match. She and Ash were both confused by this, Ash in particular because he isn't even sure what it actually is. It seems it was somehow triggered during the battle against Flygon, so perhaps it's related to the fossil being Dragon-type? And it seems that whatever this is, it powers up Dracovish since his attack strength seemed to be greater once this started occurring. But what exactly is this ability? And more importantly, is Dracovish the only Pokemon that can do this? Ash wants to learn more about it. If he can control it, this would be a great benefit for his league battles. Ash contacts Professor Magnolia and Carolus to ask if they have any idea about this, but they have no clue. Carolus simply chalks it up to being some ancient Pokemon power that modern-day Pokemon likely can't access. Hearing this has Gloria curious if her Arctozolt has any similar type of ability, since it's also a fossil Pokemon. Since Dracovish got this power-up after battling against a Dragon-type, maybe Arctozolt can awaken a similar power after being in a battle against an Electric or Ice-type. Gloria does not want to waste her chance. The league is coming up, and if Arctozolt has a special primal power, she wants to awaken it, especially if she'll be facing Ash with his Dracovish. Gloria asks Ash if she can have Arctozolt battle Pikachu to see if it has some type of special power, and he agrees. He's super interested by this recent discovery, and if he can see more of it, then he'll do whatever he can to do so. So Pikachu battles Arctozolt, and Gloria tells the Ice Bird to absorb the electricity to see if she can gain some new power boost. But after almost an hour of training, nothing seems to work, and Pikachu is exhausted. So the trainers end the battle. But Gloria isn't done yet. She decides to try ice attacks next. Since Route 10 is full of ice types, Gloria has Arctozolt battle plenty of wild Pokemon and attempts to do the same thing she did with Pikachu. But once again, she can't see any changes in Arctozolt. Gloria is starting to become disappointed, which saddens Arctozolt, as she feels like she's letting her trainer down. Dracovish is watching this and wants to help out, which Ash notices, so he allows him to assist in any way he can. The Fish Dragon strikes Arctozolt with Ice Fang numerous times, but still nothing happens. Dracovish refuses to stop though, and he continues chomping at Arctozolt's ice-covered body with all of his might. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, a small portion of her body begins glowing for a split second. This stuns Gloria and Ash, who are nearly convinced that nothing was coming from this. But it seems that Arctozolt might have her own special ability as well. The fossils continue their training all throughout the night, even after their trainers and some of their teammates go to sleep. Dracovish dives toward Arctozolt with a Dragon Rush and slams into the beast, pushing her back. But she does her best to fight off against the attack, and roars back loudly at him, pushing him back. And suddenly, her entire ice-covered body glows a bright blue and seems to harden, almost as if she used iron defense. At this point, the Dragon Rush feels like nothing more than a tackle to Arctozolt, and she effortlessly pushes Dracovish back with Freeze Dry, dealing a major hit. Dracovish shakes itself off and cheers happily over the progress made. Arctozolt likewise celebrates in glee. They look over to their trainers, expecting praise, only to remember that it's late at night and their trainers are asleep. Only a few of the other Pokemon are awake and congratulate them. Those of fossils are slightly disappointed that their trainers aren't awake to witness this. They're excited over the progress made and can't wait to show off Arctozolt's new power. After a few more days of traveling, Ash and Gloria arrive in Winden for the league, where they reunite with Hop and Marnie. Hop tells Ash that he looks forward to battling him, with Ash responding that he's excited as well, but won't lose this time. Though deep down, Ash is happy to see Hop fully has his confidence back. Not that he plans to lose after all, he aims to battle Leon by the end of the league. Of course, Gloria and Marnie join in to proclaim themselves as Leon's future opponents. As they converse, two other familiar faces join them. It's Clara and Avery. Ash and Gloria are surprised to see their other rivals and ask if they're competing in the league. The duo reveal that they are, though not as gym challengers, but as minor league gym leaders. All four trainers are shocked at this news, and Clara explains further. The Winden Conference is different from other leagues in that the preliminary rounds will consist of league challengers battling against gym leaders in 3-on-3 battles. If the challenger loses, they're out of the competition. But the winners who defeat the gym leaders will move on to the qualifying rounds, known as the Champion Cup. Since Galar doesn't have an Elite Four, the trainers will not only be battling for the title of league winner, but for the goal of battling Leon in the final match of the Champion Cup. Usually this honor of battling in the preliminary rounds is only given to major league leaders, but occasionally minor league leaders are able to battle as well, and this year, minor league gym leaders have been invited to battle once again, which is good for Stownside and Sirchester. This excites the 4 trainers, and they all vow to get to the Champion Cup. Avery says that if they wish to get that far, they'll have to get past them and the other gym leaders first. Ash says he wouldn't have it any other way. Chairman Rose and his employees have prepared a fancy meal for all the challengers at a nearby hotel, so the group of 6 decides to have dinner together. They're in the midst of eating, only to be surprised when Mustard and Honey show up. The 2 state that they came to support their dojo students and to see all of their amazing battles. Ash and Gloria are thrilled to see them again, and they ask how Urshifu has been doing. Mustard says that they can see for themselves, as he sends the large bear from her Pokeball. Urshifu greets Ash and Gloria happily with a hug, and they tell her that they hope she'll watch their battles. Urshifu nods happily, which is when Clara and Avery jump in and say that they hope she'll be rooting for them as well. After all, they helped train her too. Everyone laughs, and Mustard tells the group that he has a surprise for them. All eyes are on the dojo master as Urshifu lifts up a giant golden pot. She sets it on the table, and it's revealed to be a huge serving of mac soup. Honey says that they prepared it for the trainers to give their Pokemon a final boost in power before the league. This excites all the trainers, and they send out their Pokemon to have a helping of soup, which they all eat happily. After dinner, Rose bids the trainers farewell, telling them that he hopes the gym challengers have a good night's sleep before the big day of battles tomorrow. That night, all the trainers vow to make this league the best that Galar has ever seen. The opening ceremony begins with Rose announcing how excited he is for this year's league tournament. The participants of the recent gym challenge have been some of the best he's ever seen, and yet there are still some that didn't make it to the league. He can't wait to see what this tournament will bring and who will get the honor of facing Leon. He invites all the competing trainers to meet him in the center of the stadium. As all the competitors walk to the pitch, they stand in awe at the amount of people in the audience. The crowd roars loudly, and as Ash is waving to fans, Corviknight bursts out of his Pokeball upon hearing the cheering crowd. He flies into the air and does a few laps around the crowd. Many of his fans cheer loudly for him, telling the bird that they're rooting for him to do well in this league. Corviknight responds with a loud roar and another set of aerial somersaults. The trainers laugh at the Pokemon's antics. Rose directs the audience to a screen where the preliminaries will be announced. All eyes are intensely staring at the screen, everyone eager to know who they'll be facing. Finally, the matchups are shown. Marnie will be battling Kabu, Hap will take on Bee, Ash is up against Clara, and Gloria is matched with Avery. All the trainers look toward their opponents, with Clara and Avery glaring at Ash and Gloria. Looks like they got the matchups they wanted. Clara tells Ash that she won't lose to him again, and Avery adds that it's unfortunate that Gloria's league journey will end so soon. Gloria informs Avery that she's excited for their battle, but she has no intention of losing. Ash tells Clara the same thing. All the preliminary battles will be held in a specific order, with the first battle of the day being Ash versus Clara. Ash meets Clara on the pitch. Clara greets Ash with her usual bubbly yet snarky self. She tells Ash that this preliminary battle will be a 3-on-3, and she hopes he's brought his A-game, not that he'll be winning. Ash replies that he'll be winning for sure. After all, his goal since he first got to Galar has been one thing, to defeat Leon and become the next Galar champion. Clara tells him that, unfortunately for him, that dream ends here, because she'll be winning, as she's fighting for her place as the next Major League Poison-type gym leader of Galar. Hop, Gloria, and Marnie cheer for Ash in the stands, wishing for him to do well. Meanwhile, Honey and Mustard encourage Clara to represent the dojo well. Urshifu adds in her own cheers for both of her former training partners. Avery claims that he doesn't want to choose a side to cheer for just yet, as he thinks the battle could go either way. Clara begins by sending out her Scolipede, which Ash recognizes as the Whirlipede she battled him with back on the Isle of Armor. Ash decides to send out Dracovish. Dracovish roars intimidatingly at Scolipede, who only returns the confrontational growl. Clara does not waste time and orders Scolipede to use Toxic. The attack is fired faster than Dracovish can even register, badly poisoning the fish monstrosity instantly. Right off the bat, this throws off Ash. He did not anticipate a status condition so early in the battle. Dracovish likewise becomes furious over being hit with this toxic venom. The spikes on his chest flash red, but it's only for a second. Ash notices it, though is still unsure of how to properly make use of this ability. Nevertheless, he's now on a time limit, so he orders for Dracovish to use Dragon Rush. The beast charges forward with a powerful attack, but Clara has Scolipede use Sludge Bomb to slow him down. Dracovish continues rushing forward at an impressive speed, so Clara orders Scolipede to aim at Dracovish's feet. She does so, and this causes Dracovish to stumble out of his attack and crash onto the ground. Once he gets in front of Scolipede, she uses a close-range Sludge Bomb to do heavy damage. In the crowd, Mustard comments that Clara has been training diligently at the dojo and has greatly improved her battle skills. Dracovish pushes himself up and snarls at Scolipede, but she is unfazed. Ash orders Fishious Rend, and Clara commands Megahorn. The Pokemon charge forward at each other and collide in the center of the battlefield. The Pokemon attempt to push each other back, and Clara orders another close-range Sludge Bomb. The attack strikes, but surprisingly, Dracovish remains standing, his endurance shocking the audience. He lets out another loud roar, and the red spikes on his stomach begin glowing again, now clear for everyone to see. This surprises the audience, as this is the first time this strange ability has been truly seen clearly. Ash is in awe on what is happening, as are his friends in the audience. Even Mustard is unsure of what they're seeing. Then again, Dracovish is a mysterious ancient Pokemon. Surely there's a lot they don't know about it. The now glowing spikes wrap around Scolipede, holding it in place. This surprises Clara, who orders for her to break free, but she struggles to do so. It shocks Ash as well, as this is the first time the spikes have done anything other than just glow. But not wanting to waste this opportunity, Ash then has Dracovish use Ice Fang. Dracovish clamps down on Scolipede's head, and her body begins to slowly freeze. Clara then commands a close-up Megahorn to the head, which does knock Dracovish back, causing him to release Scolipede. Dracovish then wails in agony as he feels more damage from the poison. Clara does not want to risk her Pokemon being overpowered, so she takes this chance to command another Sludge Bomb, striking Dracovish head-on and taking him down. Clara thus gets the first win of the battle. She is of course ecstatic and thanks Scolipede for her efforts. Avery then cheers loudly for Clara, praising her, which of course has Gloria teasing him since he said he wasn't going to pick a side. He ignores her and says that he's simply rooting for the person who battles best. Ash recalls Dracovish, thanking him for the assistance. He tells Clara that she's really improved since their last match, but that this battle is far from over. Ash's next choice is Corviknight. The audience celebrates upon seeing the beloved bird, and he naturally flies around the entire stadium, greeting his fans with a happy roar. He does a few fancy tricks for good measure before landing on the ground. Marty comments that it seems Corviknight continues to become more and more of a show-off over time. Mustard adds that he loves the bird's energy. Clara expected for Ash to use his Pokemon and knows the type matchup is not in her favor in the slightest, but she has a plan. Ash, meanwhile, doesn't want to waste any time and has Corviknight go in for Sky Attack. While Corviknight is charging his attack, Scolipede lands a few rollouts, with each strike more powerful than the last. Once the metallic bird launches the attack, Scolipede has built up enough power with her rollout to counter the Sky Attack head-on. Marty comments that Clara is truly a powerful trainer for her Scolipede to go head-to-head with a Pokemon it has a type disadvantage against. Ash calls for Iron Head, and the attack strikes Scolipede head-on for major damage. But another rollout from the bug hits Corviknight hard. Ash knows that he has to finish things, so he orders a Steel Wing. Clara orders another rollout, but right before the attacks collide, Ash has Corviknight use Iron Head as well. The two attacks create a massive metallic armor around Corviknight's body, making the attack even more powerful. He then dives into Scolipede with an even more powerful force, taking her down. Corviknight's fans cheer loudly after this win, and the bird himself is thrilled to have made up for his poor performance in Gordy's gym battle by getting himself a big win in his Champion Cup debut. He celebrates by flying into the air and doing some more tricks. The battle is now tied, with one Pokemon down on each side. Hop, Gloria, Marnie, and Urshifu cheer for Ash, while Honey and Avery praise Clara's efforts in dealing a lot of damage to Corviknight. Clara recalls her Pokemon, but doesn't seem too upset by this loss. Without skipping a beat, she sends in her Slowbro. Ash is surprised to see her using the Pokemon so soon, as he expected her to save it for last. Nevertheless, he orders Corviknight to use Iron Head. The bird rushes forward, but Clara orders a Focus Blast to intercept the hit. The attack does slow Corviknight down, but he pushes through. As he gets closer, Clara commands Slowbro to take the hit using her Shell Arm. Slowbro manages to catch Corviknight in her grip, and this is right where Clara wanted it. She then orders a close-range Fire Blast. Ash is stunned, but before he can even react, Corviknight is blasted with a super effective attack. This of course does a major hit. Avery commented that this was clearly part of Clara's plan to teach her Slowbro a move to hurt steel types for big damage. Ash is stuck. He realizes that calling Corviknight back is the best move for now, so he orders U-turn. Slowbro tries to use Fire Blast to stop him, but Corviknight just flies through the open space of the attack and lands his, returning to his Pokeball for the time being. Ash sends out his third choice for the battle, Inteleon. Clara decides to call Slowbro back and sends out her Drapion. Clara has Drapion start with Cross Poison, and Ash has Inteleon dodge and use Swift. As Drapion is pelted by the glowing stars, Inteleon then dives forward with Acrobatics. Clara has Drapion counter with X-Scissor, and the moves collide. Ash orders Inteleon to use Snipe Shot, and though she aims with extreme precision, Drapion is quick enough to dodge the attack. Ash decides that he needs to go stronger on the offense, so he recalls Inteleon to her Pokeball and Dynamaxes her. But to his surprise, it turns out that the Max Soup Mustard Broad had an effect on her, and she exits her Pokeball in a new Gigantamax state. Clara is stunned by this, but tries not to freak out. She takes note of the fact that Inteleon is now balancing on her extremely long tail. She tells Drapion to simply knock Inteleon down with X-Scissor. The Pokemon rushes forward, but Ash tells Inteleon to keep Drapion away. She takes aim using her Water Harpoon and launches a powerful bullet of water at Drapion. Ash's Rotom Pokédex identifies this as G-Max Hydro Snipe, but Drapion is quick enough to scurry away and dodge at the last second. Clara has Drapion use Pin Missile, but Drapion blocks it with Max Guard. This time, the gym leader orders Night Slash, and Inteleon goes in for the attack. Ash orders Inteleon to observe Drapion as it runs, and to launch another G-Max Hydro Snipe. Clara prepares to tell her Pokemon to dodge, but to her surprise, Ash has Inteleon strike the attack at the ground in front of Drapion. The sharp blast of water strikes, which causes Drapion to be launched into the air onto her back, taking a huge blow. Inteleon returns to her normal size as Drapion struggles to simply get up. Ash takes this chance and calls for one more Snipe Shot. With extreme precision, Inteleon launches the attack, taking Drapion down. Ash is thrilled to have gotten another win, while Clara is only mildly annoyed. After all, both of Ash's remaining Pokemon have taken decent damage, so she should have no issue finishing them off. She recalls Drapion and sends Slowbro back out. Ash surprisingly switches out Inteleon for Corviknight. This stuns his friends in the audience, since Ash is aware that Slowbro can use Fire Blast. Corviknight screeches loudly at Slowbro, and Clara decides that she needs to put this battle in her favor right away. She recalls Slowbro and Dynamaxes her. Right off the bat, she uses Max Flare, but Ash orders Corviknight to dodge. The bird is able to do so, then lands an Iron Hit on Slowbro. This deals a decent hit, but Slowbro is fine in her Dynamax state. Ash orders a few consecutive Steel Wings, and with Corviknight's speed, he's able to land quite a few blows. Unfortunately, with Corviknight up close, Slowbro manages to eventually smack him away with her shell-covered arm, dealing a heavy blow. She then uses Max Flare once again before Corviknight can get back up, and this takes Corviknight down, much to the dismay of the crowd. Ash recalls the bird, thanking him for his efforts. It's now a one-on-one. The next battle will determine if Ash makes it into the qualifying rounds. Inteleon is sent back out, and Clara is ready to end this battle. She commands Max Ooze, but Ash orders Inteleon to dodge. Inteleon uses her agility and speed to dodge a lot of the Max Ooze attacks. Clara commands Slowbro to use her psychic powers to spread around the poisonous bath, and Inteleon continues dodging. Meanwhile, Ash orders another Snipe Shot, and the attack strikes Slowbro square in the head. But at the same time, one of the poisonous blasts hits Inteleon. She slams into the ground as Slowbro returns to normal size. Both Pokemon are down, and Ash and Clara beg their respective Pokemon to get back up. The two struggle to their feet, each exhausted. It's time to end things. Clara orders a Shell Sidearm, while Ash has Inteleon glide through the air with her back membranes to dodge. Slowbro continues shooting off her attack, but Ash has Inteleon use Protect in the air to block it. Slowbro becomes tired, and she falters while firing Shell Sidearm. Seeing an opening, Inteleon then uses Swift, which strikes Slowbro cleanly. The Pokemon then falls over in defeat, right as Inteleon lands on her feet. Ash is thrilled. He's won. He's made it through the preliminary battle and has gained entry to the next rounds. Ash rushes over to hug Inteleon as the audience cheers. Ash's friends cheer for him in the crowd. Avery comments that despite everything, Clara did well. Said minor league leader thanks her Slowbro and recalls her. She then meets up with Ash in the center of the battlefield and praises him for the win. She says that she expected nothing better from her rival. Now, he has to make it all the way to Leon. Ash thanks her for the battle as well, and tells her that he will certainly get to Leon. That's his mission. The next preliminary round battle sees Marnie battling Kabu. Her Pokemon do a good job, and currently his Torkoal and Salazzle are down, but so are Marnie's Liepard and Morpeko. Morgrem and Centiskorch have been battling it out for a while. By now they're exhausted, and either one of them could take the win. Marnie's friends cheer for her to win this, and Marnie calls out for Morgrem to pull through. The Pokemon then shocks everyone by evolving on the battlefield and using a new Spirit Break attack to finish off the weakened Centiskorch. Everyone cheers for Marnie's victory, as she's also earned her spot into the main competition. Gloria's battle against Avery is next. Avery smiles and tells Gloria that he's thrilled and honored that he's going to be the one to knock one of Galar's beloved gym challengers out of the competition before it even begins. Gloria smirks back at Avery and tells him that she's happy that he made it as a minor league gym leader, but unfortunately for him, he won't be getting to the major league anytime soon, because she'll be beating him here. Avery says that he won't allow that, and he starts the battle by sending out his Alakazam. Gloria is impressed at seeing the evolved Pokemon, remembering the battle against it back on the Isle of Armor, still as a Kadabra. She decides to send in her Appleton first. Appleton starts out with Apple Acid, but Alakazam quickly dodges. Gloria tries to command Grassy Glide instead, but the speedy Alakazam dodges once again. Gloria grimaces, as speed-wise, Appleton seems totally outclassed by Alakazam. Gloria tries to order more Apple Acid and Grassy Glide attacks, but Alakazam dodges every single hit. Ash is in shock at how perfectly Alakazam is countering Appleton's movements, almost as if it was specifically prepared for her battle style. Clara explains how Avery had been watching a lot of Gloria's older battles, analyzing her weak points in preparation for a potential battle with her. This surprises Ash, since it's basically the same way Gloria always prepared for her own gym battles, by watching her opponents on TV and studying their techniques before challenging them. And thinking on it, it actually makes Ash nervous. After all, Avery has 8 gym battles of Gloria's to study from. Meanwhile, Gloria only has her 2 battles against Avery on the Isle of Armor as reference to the way he battles. Marnie states that this will likely be a difficult battle for Gloria. Appleton begins panting heavily, showing fatigue already. Ash becomes concerned because Appleton is known for not being the fastest, whereas Alakazam can use its psychic powers to move incredibly quickly. Mustard praises Avery's Pokemon for its power. Avery decides that he's in no mood to waste time and is done playing around. He commands Alakazam to use Psychic to grab Appleton and spin her around in the air. He then hits a barrage of Shadow Ball attacks, which Appleton can do nothing to dodge. Gloria commands Appleton to use Dragon Pulse, but Alakazam slams her into the ground before she can even use the move. A follow-up Tri-Attack does a decent chunk of damage and even paralyzes Appleton. Gloria begins panicking as Appleton shows noticeable signs of pain. She decides to recall Appleton and send out Thievul, who would probably be better to compete with Alakazam's speed. Alakazam uses a Focus Blast, but Thievul is more than fast enough to dodge, then strikes with a powerful Lash Out. Alakazam takes a huge chunk of damage, but remains standing. Avery expresses his annoyance over his Alakazam being hurt, but orders a Tri-Attack, hoping a paralysis will slow the fox down. But once again, Thievul manages to dodge the attack. Gloria orders a Snarl, and the move not only hits Alakazam hard, but weakens his attack strength. Avery orders another Focus Blast, and this one lands, but due to the Snarl, the attack is weakened, and Thievul remains standing. Avery considers switching out, but he still wants to slow down Thievul for later in the battle. He quickly comes up with an idea. He commands another Shadow Ball, but Thievul dodges and uses Foul Play. But now that he's up close, Alakazam uses a direct Tri-Attack, and this does serious damage to Thievul. The fox stumbles backward, but maintains his footing. However, a burst of flames consumes his body, causing him to shriek in pain. Hop comments that it looks like the Tri-Attack burned Thievul. Barney adds that this will weaken Thievul's attack power. Clara cheers at how Avery has already managed to inflict major status conditions on 2 of Gloria's Pokemon. This makes Ash nervous, and he hopes Gloria will be able to turn things around. Avery did really want to slow Thievul down with paralysis, but figures a burn is fine too. He decides that he's more comfortable keeping Alakazam in the battle now, so he tells Alakazam to use Focus Blast again. Alakazam launches the attack, but Gloria has Thievul use Tail Slap to smack the attack back at Alakazam, and he only just manages to dodge at the last second. This shocks Avery and the audience, who aren't expecting Thievul to counterattack in that way. Honey notes that Gloria's battle style has become just as unpredictable as Ash's. Coincidentally, Gloria comes up with a new idea on the spot, very similar to Ash. While Alakazam is caught off guard, Gloria has Thievul use Tail Slap. Avery doesn't see this as a threat, so he simply orders Alakazam to use Shadow Ball. But Gloria specifically orders her Pokemon to aim his attack at Alakazam's spoons. The fox succeeds in smacking Alakazam's spoons out of his hands, removing the primary source of his powers. The audience roars at the amazing battle play. Alakazam becomes enraged and rushes to grab his spoons with his psychic powers, but as he does, Thievul uses a snarl to disorient him and weaken him further. Avery has had enough and commands Alakazam to get his spoons and use Focus Blast. Alakazam does manage to get his spoons, but he doesn't have enough time to launch a new attack, as Gloria calls for a lash out. The attack lands and Alakazam is taken down. As he falls, Thievul flinches in pain from the burn damage, but remains standing. Avery is furious over the loss and decides that he's done messing around. He sends out his Galarian Slowking, a Pokemon Gloria has never seen him use before. Ash comments that the Pokemon looks strong, and Mustard confirms it, stating that Avery has been training his Slowking relentlessly in preparation for this battle. Gloria decides to recall Thievul, as he's pretty worn out from that last battle. Arctozolt comes in to replace him. Gloria starts out with Freeze Dry, so Avery decides to fight Ice with Ice and use Blizzard. Surprisingly, Avery's Slowking actually managed to push through the Freeze Dry and strike Arctozolt. The attack actually winds up slightly pushing her back, but she manages to maintain her footing. Avery orders Slowking to use all of his might to blast Arctozolt away, so the Pokemon obeys his trainer's order. He puts all of his energy into this attack to increase the power of Blizzard and strikes Arctozolt with an intense power. Arctozolt can no longer even be seen on the field due to the size of the Blizzard. Gloria is in awe of the Pokemon's power and is nervous as Arctozolt is too slow to get out of the attack. Then, out of nowhere, Gloria notices a faint bright blue coming from out of the Blizzard. No one can get a good glimpse at what is happening from the crowd, but the Rotom drone flies in and tries its best to capture some footage. What is broadcasted to the big screen causes the audience to gasp in shock. Rose, Oleana, and Leon also react in confusion. The ice covering Arctozolt's body is glowing. It's very similar to what happened during their training with Dracovish. Only now, the ice encasing her body is shining a stunning blue and the light is only growing in size. Marty wonders about the nature of this strange power the ancient Galar Pokemon seem to have. Hops says that whatever it is, it's certainly cool. Arctozolt, meanwhile, is thrilled that her trainer can finally see the fruits of their labor after training with Dracovish. Gloria, while happy about this change in circumstance, is still confused as to what this blue glow means exactly. Naturally, she assumes that Arctozolt has become more powerful, similar to Ash's Dracovish, so she commands Arctozolt to use Icicle Crash, which the Pokemon does. Sharp icicles rain down on Slowking, halting his powerful Blizzard attack. As the snow clears, the change in Arctozolt's body can be seen clearly by everyone in the arena, and it's stunning. Avery doesn't let this faze him and commands Power Gym. The attack is launched, but despite it being a super effective move, the attack seems to bounce off Arctozolt's body with ease, barely affecting the Pokemon. Clara then begins to shout that this is unfair, since Avery's Pokemon don't have any special fossil powers. Avery seems likewise annoyed and commands Sludge Wave. The attack does hit Arctozolt and is even able to push her back, but she still does not seem to take much damage. From here, Gloria deduces that it seems that Arctozolt's power has allowed her to become more powerful defensively versus Dracovish, who grew offensively. Arctozolt can see the gears turning in her trainer's head and is thrilled over her making this connection. Avery, on the other hand, is furious now and decides that if he wants to win this, he'll need to use Slowking's full power. He recalls the Pokemon to his Pokeball as Dynamax energy surges from the power spot of the stadium. He tosses Slowking out, now as a Dynamax Pokemon, which he thinks will give him the edge in this battle. Marty comments that Gloria should be careful. Even with Arctozolt's defense boost, Dynamax is still a force to be reckoned with. Gloria remains calm and tells Arctozolt to use Freeze Dry on the floor of the stadium. She plans to use her ground freezing strategy to give her Pokemon better mobility against the Dynamax Pokemon. But it seems Avery was already prepared to counter the strategy. He orders his Slowking to use Max Ooze. A surge of sludge coats the entire battlefield of the stadium, leaving Arctozolt unable to use her attack. Not only that, but Arctozolt's movements are basically halted as she's unable to move in the pool of poison. Avery then tells Slowking to use his psychic abilities to strike Arctozolt even more with the poison. Arctozolt tries to counter by freezing the sludge with Freeze Dry, but the power of the Max move is far too great. Avery then uses Max Mindstorm, which does a huge blow to Arctozolt, flinging her backward into the poisonous bath. It also sets up a Psychic Terrain. The Electric Bird mutant is able to rise to her feet, but struggles to do much else. Gloria orders a Bolt Beak, and the attack strikes Slowking's leg for a small bit of damage. Avery is ready to end this though, and commands a Max Rockfall to crush Arctozolt. The fossil tries to use Icicle Crash to push the move back, but it's no use. Slowking returns to normal size as the poisonous pool dissipates. Once the smoke from the final attack is cleared, Arctozil is revealed to have fainted. Gloria is disappointed that Arctozil fainted even with the new power-up, but she supposes that it's still good to see that her Fossil has a special power that she can also awaken. Not to mention that Avery had to resort to using Dynamax to counter it, meaning she still has a slight advantage over him. Avery meanwhile is thrilled that he was able to turn things around and tie up the match. From here, he feels his victory is secure. After all, both of Gloria's remaining Pokemon have status conditions. He recalls Slowking for now, and sends in his Swoobat to finish the remaining Pokemon off. Gloria meanwhile sends in Appleton, who took quite a beating before, but Gloria hopes that she was able to regain a bit of stamina. She immediately starts with a Recover, allowing Appleton to regain a lot of her health back and recover from previous damage. Avery screams in frustration as he forgot Gloria's Appleton knew that move, and even held off from using it until now. He orders an Air Slash for a major hit, though thankfully for Gloria, Appleton manages to remain strong. From here, she orders Apple Acid, but she becomes halted by paralysis, allowing Swoobat to use Psyshock, which is made even more powerful thanks to the Psychic Terrain. Gloria realizes that she won't get anywhere with this poison, and decides to Dynamax Appleton for an advantage. She's surprised, however, when Appleton grows into a brand new form, revealing a Gigantamax Appleton. Obviously, this must have been thanks to Honey and Mustard's Max Soup. After seeing Gigantamax Appleton's new G-Max moves with her Pokédex, she becomes thrilled by what she sees. She starts by commanding a G-Max Sweetness. Swoobat attempts to dodge by flying around, but fails and winds up taking a hard hit. As a surge of energy spreads across the field, the static sparks of the paralysis vanish from Appleton's body. Honey notes that G-Max Sweetness can cure Pokemon and its allies of status conditions, so this was the perfect move for Gloria during this point in the battle. Swoobat uses another Air Slash, but Gloria commands Max Guard to avoid all damage. Avery is fed up with this and calls for Psyshock, but Gloria counters it with Max Wormwind. Both attacks strike, and this attack does a huge hit to Swoobat in particular, weakening its attack and causing it to fall out of the sky. At the same time, Appleton returns to her normal size. Avery orders Swoobat to get up and use Acrobatics, but due to the now lowered attack, Appleton is able to intercept and knock the bat back with Grassy Glide. She then uses a point-blank Dragon Pulse to knock Swoobat out. Clara demands for Avery to stop slacking off and get back into this game. Is he trying to let Gloria win? Marnie meanwhile praises Gloria for being able to turn the battle around. She just needs to take down Slowking and she can win this. Avery is also annoyed at how this battle has gone, but he doesn't freak out. After all, Slowking is one of his strongest Pokemon. He should be able to win this for him. Slowking re-enters the battle and glares aggressively at Appleton. He starts with a Sludge Wave, which Gloria tries to counter with Apple Acid. Not-surprisingly, the Poison-type move manages to push through to land a big hit on Appleton. Gloria orders Recover, but Avery has had it with the healing. He orders an Eerie Impulse attack, which Gloria has never seen before. The attack hits hard, but Appleton remains standing. Gloria tries to command Recover again, but as Appleton tries to use the move, she finds herself unable to do so. Hop is confused from the audience, and Avery reveals that Eerie Impulse limits how much a Pokemon can use an attack. This puts a dent in Gloria's plans, but she tries to focus on doing damage and orders another Dragon Pulse. But Avery decides to strike hard with Blizzard. The attack manages to push through the Dragon-type move, and of course does a huge blow to Appleton. Gloria tries to have Appleton find a way to break free, but Slowking once again increases the size of the Blizzard and blasts Appleton away. She falls to the ground, unconscious. Gloria recalls the Pokemon and thanks her for putting in so much work. Clara is thrilled, as the battle is now tied up. All Gloria has left is a Thievul with a burn. Gloria throws out her final Pokemon, and as soon as he hits the ground, his body is enveloped with the same energy which came from Appleton's G-Max Sweetness. The crowd collectively gasps as Thievul shakes himself off and chirps at Gloria with a smile. Gloria is confused for a second before she realizes that Thievul no longer appears to be burned. It seems the energy from Appleton's G-Max move was able to heal Thievul as well. Okay guys, before you say anything, I'm pretty sure that isn't how this move works in Sword and Shield. I don't think you can switch a Pokemon in to remove status conditions, and the Pokemon has to already be out on the field. But come on, just let me use a little bit of anime logic. Avery of course becomes annoyed by this, but doesn't dwell too much on it. After all, burn or not, Thievul took a lot of damage in the earlier battle, while Slowking came out of his earlier battle with far fewer injuries. He thinks he can still win this, and starts by commanding a Power Gem. Gloria orders Thievul to dodge, which he does with an impressive speed. She then commands Lash Out, which hits Slowking for a major hit. But once again, with Thievul up close, Slowking can land a Sludge Wave easily. Thievul does take a lot of damage, but gets back to his feet and immediately dashes forward once again. Avery commands Blizzard to push Thievul back. However, Thievul leaps around the field to avoid being hit. A strong foul play attack crashes into Slowking and has him toppling over. Avery is becoming frustrated. Thievul is way too fast. If there was a way to slow him down, Slowking might have a chance. Avery ponders things for a moment and remembers a particular gym battle of Gloria's that gives him an idea. Avery decides to have Slowking use Blizzard to freeze the ground. Immediately, Gloria can see what Avery is doing, and she thinks back to her gym battle at Sirchester. Thievul did not fare too well on the ice, and it wound up leading to his defeat. And Avery remembers this battle as well from his studies. He orders his Slowking to skate on the ice, very similar to the way Gloria's Arctozolt does. Slowking skates back and forth around Thievul, taunting it, and Thievul responds by growling and shaking its tail angry. Avery commands Power Gym, striking Thievul and sending him crashing backward on the ice. Gloria commands Snarl, but struggles to hit Slowking as he skates around. The situation is not looking good for Gloria, as her Fox struggles to land a hit now on the super mobile Slowking. Gloria tries to think. She needs a way for Thievul to move smoothly on the ice. Suddenly, Gloria gets an idea as she notices Thievul's tail swishing around. She tells Thievul to balance himself on his tail. The Fox obeys his trainer and stands on his tail like a centuret. Avery is confused by this, but feels it won't change anything. He commands Slowking to skate around Thievul and use Sludge Wave. But Gloria has Thievul spring up and propel himself into the air. In doing this, he manages to dodge the Sludge Wave. While in the air, Gloria commands Snarl. The powerful attack manages to strike Slowking easily and put a halt to his movements. Thievul manages to land on the ice without slipping. Avery tries to get Slowking to recover and counter with Blizzard. Slowking is still a bit disoriented from the Snarl, but rushes to use Blizzard. But Gloria has Thievul use his tail as a springboard again. Only this time she orders him to leap forward and hit Lash Out. Thievul does as he's instructed and jumps over the Blizzard and lands the powerful hit. Slowking then crashes into the icy ground, defeated. Gloria is thus deemed the winner, meaning she'll be making it into the qualifying rounds. Gloria rushes onto the field and hugs Thievul, thanking him for such a great job. Avery approaches her and praises her for her battling skills. Even though he studied all of her gym battles, she still managed to come up with new strategies on the fly to surprise and overpower him. And it just goes to show that no matter how prepared one is, a skilled trainer can always turn things around. But Avery also tells her that if he had to lose, he's glad that it was to his rival. Gloria thanks him for the amazing battle as well. She especially thanks him for helping her Arctozolt to awaken her ancient abilities, even if it wasn't intentional. But of course, that doesn't stop Avery from taking full credit for giving Arctozolt a power-up. Thievul, knowing the truth, refrains from saying anything, knowing that the humans wouldn't understand it anyway. Avery finishes off his speech by telling Gloria that at this point, she needs to be the one to defeat Leon. Hop's battle against Bee is the final battle to be held that day. Ash and the gang are watching intently as Rillaboom faces Bee's Gigantamax Machamp. Hop's Pokemon once again shows off its impeccable strength. He dodges a G-Max Chi Strike and uses Drum Beating to grab Machamp's arm to prevent her from attacking right away. A powerful Brick Break then knocks the massive Machamp down. Machamp returns to her normal size and her arms are freed, so Bee orders Cross Chop, but Rillaboom blocks it with his drum, then pushes Machamp back. A Speedier Acrobatics finishes off Machamp, giving Hop the victory and a spot in the qualifying rounds. With the preliminary matches out of the way, all remaining challengers are deemed worthy of moving on to the Champion Cup. It seems that out of all the competitors, 32 trainers made it, and this of course includes Ash, Gloria, Hop, and Marnie. Rose announces how impressed he was at these battles, but from here it's only going to become much more difficult, because from here on out, every battle will be a full 6-on-6 battle. This stuns Ash, as none of the previous leagues he entered went straight into full battles after the preliminaries. Clara rolls her eyes and says that Galar's leagues are a step above all the rest, and he shouldn't expect anything other than the toughest challenges. Rose says that he hopes all the trainers are prepared, because moving forward, every battle is just one step to battling Leon. Later that evening, all the trainers discuss their excitement. Mustard tells the group that he's proud of them all for making it to the Champion Cup, particularly Ash and Gloria, since they trained them previously. Archie feels likewise happy that her mentors did so well in the battles. This has Clara and Avery feeling a bit annoyed since they didn't win, but Honey insists to them that they shouldn't feel bad. After all, both did exceedingly well in representing the dojo. Archie happily congratulates them too, and this makes the gym leaders happy. Avery comments that he only allowed Gloria to win as he wanted to see how his rival would take on Leon, and Clara yells that she did the same thing. The others laugh as the gym leaders get into their classic bickering. Meanwhile, Ash, Gloria, Hop, and Marnie are excited to see what the Champion Cup will bring. At the same time, a familiar figure is watching the conversing group in the shadows. He pulls out his Rotom phone to replay the preliminary matches from earlier in the day, or walking off. The next morning sees the true beginning of the Galar League Conference, the Champion Cup. Rose announces that the battles yesterday were amazing, but now he's looking forward to seeing how the top trainers of Galar will handle the upcoming foe battles. Oleana directs the league challengers to the giant screen in the stadium. The top 32 matchups are shown, and all of the main competitors are excited to show off everything they've trained for. Okay guys, jumping in here, I need to quickly say something. So, long story short, I had to rewrite numerous portions of this league due to me completely changing how I wanted it to function. This wasn't too big of an issue, but it did result in me being 2 battle rounds short for the number of rounds I wanted. So the top 32 and top 16 rounds are going to have to be quick summary montages. But these will be the only ones, and I have 5 fully written out full battles that we'll go through for this league. Hopefully that makes up for me having to do this here. We'll end this part with the top 32 montage. Then we'll cover the top 16 montage and the top 8 full battles next time. Welcome to Champion Cup News, where we'll be giving a direct play-by-play of the recent matches. We're here under the league staff Macrocosmos, and this league is turning out to be a great one. Let's look over some of the battles of the top 32. The champion's younger brother, Challenger Hop, battled his opponent Victor, a fellow resident of Postwick. The battle between the boys was intense. Victor's Orbital was easily the star player of his trainer's team, taking down Hop's Pinchurchin, Cramorant, and Snorlax. But Hop's Corviknight was able to take the win over the bug type and get Hop back into the game. In the end, his Rillaboom was able to deliver the final strike on Victor's Gigantamax Dreadnought, giving Hop the win. Audience favorite Gloria, meanwhile, took on challenger Chase of the Kanto region. Chase came prepared with a powerful team, featuring strong Pokemon like Kabutops, Arcanine, and Dragonite. Gloria's Rapidash and Arctozolt, as usual, did well in delivering powerful hits to give their trainer an advantage. Things looked bleak when Chase Gigantamax's Venusaur, taking down Gloria's Alchemy, but Cinderace was able to use her agility to avoid the strong max moves and deal noticeable hits. Once Gloria's starter entered her own Gigantamax state, she was able to deliver the finishing blow to Venusaur, allowing Gloria to move forward. Marnie, younger sister of Gym Leader Piers, faced a girl named Haley. The girl showed off an interesting Pokemon, which she called Arctivish. It somewhat reminds us of the ancient Pokemon Ash and Gloria have. Arctivish proved to be an amazing defensive presence in the battle, but in the end, Marnie's Morpeko was able to take it down with his strong electric-type moves. Haley was down to just her Runerigus, but Marnie's powerful Grimmsnarl finished it off without even needing to Dynamax. And finally, another crowd favorite, Challenger 25, Ash Ketchum, faced Elaine, also a Kanto resident. Elaine took a strong stance right off the bat, Gigantamaxing her Blastoise and taking down Ash's Sirfetch'd, and dealing a lot of damage to Corviknight immediately. Blastoise and Corviknight took each other down, but that was only the beginning. Elaine continued to make strides with her Primeape and Rhydon. Ash's Inteleon, Dracovish, and Pikachu really struggled, but it was thanks to Ash's Colossal that Ash was able to turn things around. Facing Elaine's Nidoqueen with a type disadvantage was really hard at first, but the Pokemon showed off its Gigantamax form for the first time, delivering a powerful G-Max Volcalith, which dealt a lot of damage to his opponent. Colossal was able to withstand enough of Nidoqueen's attacks to finish it off with a powerful Meteor Beam. These trainers and many more moved on to the top 16 round of this competition. We look forward to seeing what other great battles we'll see moving forward in this tournament, and of course, seeing which amazing competitor will go on to face Leon.